Let's see where we can verify which of these switching modes is currently running on a router interface. We will use the show IP interface gigabit Ethernet command and specify the specific interface we want to look at, in this case 2/0. And we can see here that IPsec switching is enabled by default, so is fast switching, and as a result, process switching is enabled by default as well. And the reason why is because packets that are destined to the router, telnet, SSH, pings to that router, they have to be process switched. They have to be sent to the control plane in order to be analyzed because they're not flowing through the router. See, Ceph is all about making sure that traffic flowing through the router, Cisco Express forwarding, happens as quickly as possible. That switching process happens as quickly as possible. If we want to disable Ceph in interface configuration mode, we'll go to interface gigabit Ethernet 2/0, type in no IP route cache Ceph. This shuts off Ceph, Cisco Express forwarding. If we look at the output of do show IP interface, gigabit Ethernet 2/0, we'll now see that Ceph has been disabled. So fast switching is still enabled in this case. If we take it a step further, we can shut off fast switching by simply typing in no IP route cache. And when we do that, we'll see in our output that fast switching has been disabled as well. Now, why might we want to turn off Cisco Express forwarding or fast switching? Well, the only reason why, well, not the only reason why, but one of the reasons why we would want to turn off or disable Cisco Express forwarding or fast switching is when we need the router to process and analyze all of those packets that are arriving inbound on an interface. So in this case, gigabit Ethernet 2/0, as packets are arriving inbound, they're all going to be process switched. Why might we want to do that? Well, if we have to analyze that traffic, we have to debug it, we have to figure out why we have an issue within our environment. The traffic's not flowing through properly, or it's getting log jammed somewhere in the environment. We can shut off Cisco Express forwarding on a particular router where we believe that something might be happening and shut off fast switching. And now, if we debug packets, we can actually analyze those packets. Because if you turn on a debug and you're trying to debug packets flowing through the router, you're not going to see that. It's not actually going to debug those packets because they're not being sent to the processor. They're simply just flowing through. So if you're debugging packets, it's typically the packets that are destined specifically to that router. So if you want to analyze or debug the packets flowing through the router, you're going to have to disable Ceph and fast switching so that way their process switching can be utilized and you can debug those packets. But in normal environments, if you are not troubleshooting and you don't need to debug those packets flowing through the router, you want Cisco Express forwarding on. You want the traffic to flow through as quickly and efficiently as possible, or be switched from interface to interface as quickly as possible in that router. So to turn on Ceph, if it was ever disabled by accident, you type in IP route cache Ceph. So IP route cache would turn on fast switching, and IP route cache Ceph turns on fast switching and Cisco Express forwarding. Let's look at the output of show IP interface gigabit 2/0, and we can see here that we've re-enabled fast switching and we've re-enabled Cisco Express forwarding.